Hey everyone, Jeff here with Advisor Tech Partners, and we help RIAs and financial advisory firms to scale their business through workflows, processes, and automations inside the advisor tech tools that they use. So we like to go over a lot of Redtail, Wealthbox, and other advisor tech tools and create tutorials to help you and your team fully maximize the capabilities that these tools have. A lot of the times we see that firms aren't using these tools to their full capabilities, and they're actually using their advisor tech tools about 15% of the way. Today, we've got a pretty simple Redtail tutorial, and today I'm going to teach you how to add users, delete users, and update their permissions to make sure that your CRM is safe and up to date. By knowing how to add users, delete users, and update permissions, you're going to make sure that your firm's data is safe, and here are the 3 reasons why. In the case that you're onboarding a new employee, you're going to want to make sure that day one, they're going to be able to start looking into the system and making an impact, completing tasks, and learning about the operations of the firm. Number 2, you're going to want to be able to delete a user as quick as possible. Let's say a lead advisor leaves the firm. You don't want them to be able to log in and then get any sort of client data or take any of the operational secrets that you may have, right? And then number 3, updating permissions. That's very important because you want to make sure that you know what each user, what each employee can and cannot do inside of your Redtail CRM. You might not want the CSA to be able to delete notes. You might want the admin or the owner to be able to delete notes. You might want to control who can merge contacts. So there's information in here that you can stop people from messing with and allow people to edit based on their permissions. So to start this off, I'm going to show you where in Redtail to go to see where your active users are and where you can update all of this information. So the first step is to click on your name on the right-hand corner. So I'm going to click on my name and I'm going to click Manage Your Account. Once I get to the Manage Your Account tab on Redtail, I'm going to scroll all the way down and click on Manage Database Users and Teams. So like I said, the first thing we're going to do is learn how to add a user. And that's very simple, of course. It's pretty straightforward. So we're just going to click on the add on the top right. We're going to do a new user. And I'm going to go ahead and actually create a user and show you the process here. So I'm going to use username example, password. I'll keep that a secret. Password confirmation. Email address. So I'm going to do my email plus Redtail. First name, Joe. Last name, Schmo. This is the example person that we use at our firm. And that's it. That's all you have to do to add a user. Now, we're not going to click on this admin button because if we click on the admin button, this new user is going to be able to edit people's permissions and basically control everybody at the firm and their user on Redtail. We would be clicking admin if this was going to be like an operations manager or someone who's really in charge of this. But for now, we're going to pretend that Joe Schmo is an entry-level CSA, and we're just going to click on add user. So just like that, here he is. Joe Schmo is right here, and he has been added as a user. Now, when onboarding Joe Schmo, you're going to want to write down his username and password and give it to him because we were responsible for creating that for him. So just write it down, give it to him, and let him in the system. It's as simple as that. After Joe logs in initially, then it's going to be up to him to change his password if he chooses to do so or update his password. Now, if we click on this blue caret, downward caret, we can edit the user info. Let's say Joe got married and changed his last name, we could do that here. We can also change his password, and we can disable the user. Now, the next thing I want to cover is the user rights. And so these are the permissions that I'm talking about. If we click on user rights, we're going to see a list come up as to what Joe Schmo can do. So right now, currently, by default, Joe Schmo can change servicing advisor. So let's say I'm a contact, I'm a client of the system, and Matthew is my servicing advisor. Joe could go in there and change my servicing advisor from Matthew to somebody else. And the same thing goes for the writing advisor. Joe could also then combine records, meaning he can take one contact and another contact and merge them together, but he cannot delete notes. He can delete contacts, and he can export CSVs and export PDFs. A lot of the times, we're going to want to make sure that no one can delete notes, and that's a good precaution to have, just in case something happens and an employee is trying to kind of push it off, hide it. So we're not going to want to have that on anyone. And it can be up to your discretion as to the rest of these things. In my opinion, I would leave deleting contact off of somebody who's entry level, just to make sure no good client information gets lost. And in the case where this person is not running reports and not running information data on the firm, I would not allow them to do export CSVs or export PDFs. If you think this person is going to be doing a lot of reporting, keep these on for sure, just so they're able to quickly access lists of people, the CSVs and PDFs when you're doing reports. So absolutely a must for people who are going to be running data. If you have any sort of questions about updating user rights, leave a comment down below or shoot us an email, which will be in the description, and we'll definitely answer your questions on that. Once we're done updating the user rights or user permissions, we're just going to click on Update User Rights. Now, Joe is set to the preferences of our firm and what we want, so we're going to leave him right there. There might be a day where Joe becomes an advisor and then Joe decides to leave and wants to grow his own book of business. In that case, we're going to want to disable Joe immediately and make sure that he can't access Redtail at all. And that's super, super easy. We're going to go back to the downward facing caret and simply click on Disable User. A pop-up will come up, just making sure that this is the action you want to take. And yes, it is. So we'll disable them. Okay, so now Joe is gone because we disabled him. Bye-bye, Joe. So now Joe is gone. He's not on the user management list anymore, as you can see right here. He's actually going to live now in the disabled section. So he's been disabled and he cannot get into the system now. But this disabled tab just gives us history as to who has been disabled. So that's a good list to have. So we have the active users and the disabled users. And there we go. It's pretty straightforward to add users, disable users, and update their rights or permissions in Redtail. But we wanted to make sure that you guys and your team knows how to do this very easily and quickly, because when you're onboarding a new employee, you want to make sure that it's nice and quick. You want to make sure that your employees have the correct permissions and rights to make sure they can't do anything that you don't want them to do, or that they don't make any, accidents. They don't make any mistakes. That can definitely happen for new Redtail users. And then I showed you how to kick someone off. So we were able to disable Joe Schmo. He lives over here, and that's about it. Like I said, if anyone has any questions about adding, deleting, or updating rights in Redtail, please reach out to us, and we'll definitely answer those questions as soon as possible. We like to do these tutorials because we believe that these simple type of things are things that your firm should really know about and your team should be pros at. So we give this out for free. It's not behind a paywall, just to make sure that you guys know the basics and know what you're doing. If you have any Lastly, be sure to look in the description. We've put our guide to master your service model below. So in this guide, you're going to learn how to create processes for all of your client onboarding and client servicing workflows, so you know who does what in each workflow, and give responsibility to your team. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for watching, and take care. See you soon.